Alright guys, I know it's been a long time coming, but I've got a bit of an update for you, at least on the heavy barrel PSL. A big part of why this has been taking so long is just been running into snag after snag after snag with this thing. The biggest was my rear trunnion here. It started out as an AKM trunnion, so the sides needed to be milled down, and then once I got that fitted, it turns out that the holes had been oversized like crazy amount, and I didn't even realize it. So I kept trying to put rivets in, and the crushing wouldn't work very well because it kept wanting to fill the space around it inside. So I had to get oversized rivets that I had to order from McMaster Car, and these don't crush. I don't know why. They just don't crush as well as the AK Builder ones, and I just kept running into issues. I mean, and you can see, I don't know, maybe, let's see here, they're a lot larger, but got that done, and then after I had got that done, I ran into the issue, and I should have known better. The scope rail was super oversized, and I can't remember if I even mentioned that before, but I must have forgot, because I got all this done thinking, oh cool, finally I got this whole thing riveted in, and then I went to put on a scope, and it wouldn't even start. It was so oversized. So given that the mill, as I keep saying every time, is still out of commission, I had to send this out to have it done. Since then, since I've had it out, I got a second mill because I needed a mill to help fix the big mill. I could have done it then, but it happened after the fact. But so now this is the scope rail is machined, and for those who don't know, a lot of these PSL receivers, when they came in, they all had oversized rails because for the Romanian plant, when they would build them and then they would machine them to fit the scope and to make sure it was a correct zero and all that. So it's good now. The rear trunnion's in, and then once I got all this done, I tried to fit the Yugoslavian M72 or M76 bolt carrier into this, like I said earlier, that we were going to use, and I thought I would just need to machine it a little bit for the rear portion here to get to fit. Well, turns out I got that to fit in here, and then it needed more trimming to get to fit up here, so I did that. Then once I got that, I got it in, and then it was too thick to even move in here. So the whole thing would need to be machined down thinner, and then I did that a little bit on there, and then I got it in, and then it was still just one thing after another wouldn't fit. So I'm going back, where's that here? Going back to the Romanian PSL bolt carrier. I already re-riveted the, I still need to grind these down, but riveted the gas piston that we did earlier onto it. And even this is a little tight, but it's definitely, oops, do I even have, yep. It's definitely better. I mean, the Yugo one wouldn't even move once I got it into those, and I had to hammer it out every time. So, but even this is a little tight, so we're gonna file these rails out a little bit to make sure it is a really good fit, which I'm kind of happy with that with this one, that it's a little too tight, because then I can fit it to make sure it's very smooth and very close tolerance to the receiver. So there's those issues, and another one I'm running into that I'm going to have to do or work on here later is the mag well needs to be open slightly. When I put the mag in, the feed lips don't come up high enough. For a PSL, the top of the feed lips on the mag should come up flush with the center support where the bolt hold open is, and on this one it's a little too low, so the bolt carrier is just skimming over the top of the round. Sometimes it'll pick it up right on the very edge, but then it just slams it into the bullet guide. It's just not in the right position. So that should be simple, though. That'll just be opening up in here, because it fits very well up here, and it locks and it hooks into the front trunnion. It just needs to be opened up back here slightly, and then the back of the tab on the mag should touch up against the bottom of the selector stop. So that's the update on that. Next, what we have to do is put the spring retainer for the regulator on the gas block onto the gas tube of the PSL and modify that. So that'll be the next thing we're doing. After that, other than all the other little things I said, like fitting this, all we have to do is then drill and tap the bottom here for the bipod mount, and then really just blast and parkerize and paint it and take it out to the range. So we're going to try and get that done here. I said it already before, oh yeah, I'll get it done pretty quick, but obviously that hasn't happened, so I'm not going to make a promise for this one, but we'll try and get it done quick, because I want to shoot this thing really bad and move on to other projects that I have planned, so we'll get to that. Okay, so this is the gas tube. Well, not this one specific. This one's off an M77 I'm fixing, but it's the same exact gas tube as the M76 one. But this is what we're going to need to take off on the M76 tube, is this spring tab here that retains the gas piston, or not the piston, the gas regulator on the gas block for the M76 gas block. And so it's just retained by these two little rivets right here. And so I've already taken it off on the other one, and I'll show it, but I took a cold chisel that's ground sharply and just put it on there and gave it a good whack with a hammer, and the head just knocked right off, and it came right off. So, and didn't need to drill anything out. So that's that, and we'll show that here. So there, already removed. Here's the tab. So again, it was sitting up there and just knocked them off, and it came right off. So as we can see, we need to make 2 holes and then cut this notch here. And now that we have a mill, this is going to make this a lot easier. So we'll put it in the mill, we'll indicate off this edge, and then set the DRO so we know how far exactly to go for each of these. And then we'll set the PSL piston up and make this notched cut here and the 2 holes. On the bottom it has 2 larger holes. I'm assuming that's where they set the rivets. I'm not 100% sure yet if I'm going to do that. What I'm thinking is I can put this in, put the rivets in, and then just go in here through it with a V-shaped tip on my plinkers jig to get into the V groove here and crush those. I don't know if that'll work or not. If it doesn't, then we'll do exactly like they did here, but I don't think that the holes here are going to be necessary. If they are, I'll set it back up, drill through all the way through to the other end, and then just enlarge them so I can put a tool in there to flatten them out. But so we'll see how this goes. Never done a mod like this on a gas tube, especially drilling on these raised portions here. I imagine that's going to be a bit of a pain. I might make a little flat over the tops to drill it down before I do it, because I mean, it's not like you're going to see it. This will sit over it. And in case anyone was wondering, these rivets were a bit of a pain to find to replace. They're not even the exact ones that they used for the Zastava plant. They're what are they actually? Wait 1 second. Here they are. Oop. Found them on eBay. So 3/32 by 3/16. There was other people who had rivets for them, but they were aluminum or they were copper and things like that. These are actually steel. It says they're plated, but once I blast them for refinishing, hopefully I'll get that zinc plating off. If not, it's still going to be painted anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I wanted steel, and so these are the ones I could find. So a pack of 100 on eBay. I think they were like $11 or something like that. But yeah, I wanted to find ones exactly the same, but these are pretty close. The holes will need to be opened up just ever so slightly, hardly, but Oh, and there's a hole in the bag because they just spilled everywhere. So luckily they sent me 100. So that's the rivets we'll be using. Hopefully they'll work out fine. I don't see why they wouldn't, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we have the PSL tube in. Our first cut, based off the original, is at 987 thousandths from the indicated end here that you just saw me doing. So that'll be the first one. And then the next one behind that is at 1.22. So let's see how this goes. It's going to be interesting because of this ridge right here, if it's how well it's going to work, but we'll see. Alright, we got a really good divot there, so I think we can go to our drill bit and that should drill just fine. So let's give that a shot. Okay, got our 3/32 in and we are going to see how it goes. Not 100% perfect, but it should be perfectly fine for what we're doing. So, all right, on to the next one. Okay, let's do this next hole. Yeah, that looks good there. This Rome chuck I got, keyless chuck, is still new, so it's kind of tough to move this thing. But all right. Those holes are perfect. Oh, is it even in focus? Can't tell. That matches up perfectly. So I'll need to open up the holes in the spring here and then cut the notch, and then we should be ready to rivet this on. Okay, now we're going to cut the notch. I don't even know if you can see it. This notch over here, yeah, it's blurry as hell. Anyway, you saw it earlier. We're going to cut that notch a 3/16 end mill fits the notch perfectly, and it goes in about 150 thousandths from the end. So that's what we're going to do next. Alright, and there we go. Holes are done. And then the notch isn't squared like the original, but I like the rounded appearance on this one. So next thing we're going to do is open up the holes in the spring retainer, and then we'll get to riveting. Alright, looking forward to it. Okay, change of plans. I didn't know why I didn't think of this, but I was going to just do the plinker type jig with the arm go in and crush these, but the hole is way too small for that. I guess I could have made a special arm to go in there, but it's just more work than needs to be done for something so simple. So I did go ahead and drill the larger holes on the bottom like the factory gas tube, and I've already smushed this one to make sure it worked fine, and with these small rivets it was no issue whatsoever. So basically I just put it in there, held it down against the anvil portion of the vise, and then went in with the punch at the top and smushed it in to the V, or to a little I don't know what you want to call that, valley I guess, inside the gas tube in the little groove in here. So it works fine. Even this one is holding this on very well, but I'm going to go ahead and do the other one so you can kind of see how I'm doing it, but it's pretty straightforward. So, and take our little rivet, put it in, make sure it's, make sure it's sitting. Trying to get it situated here so it's sitting flat. And then take a punch, stick it in through the top, hold it there, and then just couple of good whacks. And that's just those 3 whacks was all it needed. It's nice and flat in there, and it's flat against the spring. Oh, let me see if I can. Come on. I don't know if we can see in there, but they're flattened down inside there. So the gas piston head shouldn't have any problem going past it. So it's on there. So now we're going to test fit it onto the barrel to make sure the handguard retainer, it can be installed with the handguard retainer. I'm kind of worried that it won't be able to, and I'm going to have to modify the handguard retainer, but we'll find out here in a second. So stick with it. Alright, there it is. it is installed. The handguard retainer did require a little bit of grinding at the top so that I could slide this under, but just slight. And so you can see there's the spring retaining the regulator. And if you want to adjust it, you just put something, a bullet tip or something, through the little loop there, pull it up, and then you rotate it with your fingers to set it to a new notch. So with that done, we're going to assemble it and get a shot of it there, and then we'll take it to the range, test fire it, more than likely in the next episode. And then after that, it's just blast, parkerize, and paint. And then this thing should finally be done. Hopefully there's no issues with function or anything, but we're gonna find out, I guess. So let's get this thing together.